Hey everyone, welcome back to Crime Wire Weekly, and a little look at the topics that we're going to be talking about today. In Baton Rouge, missing teen Ja'Derrius Minniweather. His remains possibly have been recovered. They haven't been identified yet, but they have a strong suspicion that his remains have been recovered from a landfill. Of course, that's a 15-year-old that we brought you his story a couple of times on past episodes. So we're going to be following up on that with maybe some good news for his family for sure. We're also tracking the latest delay in the Madison Brooks trial, also a local story.
That one's huge. And I know a lot of people have been waiting on that trial.
Yeah. 3.5 years of waiting. Yeah. We'll get into it. Another unexpected twist in the Alex Murdaugh saga. Man, this guy will not go away. Of course, he has a retrial coming, and it got granted a change of venue. We're going to talk about that, why that occurred. A chilling case in Florida as a sheriff's deputy is accused of kidnapping and killing his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. That thin blue line, I guess he crossed it.
He definitely did. From there, the stories only get stranger. An Iowa man faces serious federal charges for selling protected Alabama turtles. 107 or something like that, different charges for selling turtles. We'll tell you why.
That's what I would go down for, Jim.
Yeah.
That would be me.
That would be you.
I know.
A Nebraska wedding planner is essayed, if you will, because, I guess we could say it.
Yeah.
We just can't type it. So sexually assaulted before the ceremony.
Yeah.
That she was wedding planning.
Yeah, that one. But I got questions about that one. I think people will be interested in that story.
Yeah, a 45-day manhunt for a murder suspect by the name of Isabelle Johnson has been making big headlines. She's been on the run for 45 days. It finally ends. She has been captured. We'll bring you up to date on that story. A man literally smashes a hole through an apartment closet wall.
Like the Kool-Aid man. I mean, like straight through.
Yeah. To attack a teenager. And in North Carolina, a man turns a Morgan Wallen concert into a nightmare by urinating on an entire family. You heard me right.
I don't even have words there. That would be a brawl. That would be the
why I
start.
don't go to concerts.
That's why? Fear of urination?
Yes. I don't want anybody pissing on me at the concert.
But I am an old lady because I do want to sit when I go to a concert.
Right.
Which makes me old. But
all right. In overtime, we're going to have another segment of the True Crime Time Machine. A New Jersey psychotherapist murder. It's going ice cold, and they have no more leads. We'll bring you that story. We've got another segment of Lustful Lawbreakers, and a Baton Rouge man that was pulled over in Memphis carrying someone in the passenger seat that was not alive.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you about that story as well. But we're going to get into it today after I introduce my co-host, or I'll let her introduce herself. What's your name?
My name is Kelly Jennings. What's your name?
Every time I glaze over that part, she's like, wait a minute.
He goes, I'm Jim Chapman. And I go, and he starts his story. I'm like, well, hell, I'm just the gargoyle in the corner. If you need me, holla.
In the corner. You are not the gargoyle in the corner. All right, so we're going to get into today's story. And as I said, we're going to start off in Baton Rouge. And after more than 2 months of searching and 6 grueling weeks digging through one of the most hazardous crime scenes that you can possibly imagine, Baton Rouge authorities announced yesterday afternoon, as of this recording, that the human remains have been recovered in an East Baton Rouge Parish North landfill that they believe are the remains of Ja'Derrius Minniweather. That's a 15-year-old. He was last seen in the Baton Rouge area, and a lot of intelligence led to police actually searching a specific 300-acre section of the landfill. Now, DNA testing, of course, underway to confirm the identity, but police have some pretty strong evidence that it is him. A reminder on the background of this case: Ja'Derrius was reported missing on June 5th of 2026. 2 weeks later, Baton Rouge police arrested 51-year-old Maurice Parms, and they charged him with first-degree murder. Now, according to the arrest warrant, detectives believe Parms beat the teenager to death during an altercation involving a 16-year-old girl who was a longtime friend of Ja'Derrius. Investigators say Parms went to great lengths to hide the body. Evidence, including video from the back of a garbage truck, showed that Ja'Derrius's body was placed in a trash receptacle, picked up on regular collection routes, and then dumped at the North Landfill. The landfill itself, y'all, is massive. It's a active municipal dump covering 400 acres and taking in about 1,600 tons of waste every day. What followed was the most difficult recovery operation that local law enforcement had ever done. With the help of FBI's Technical Hazardous Response Team, they started digging. Y'all, this ain't getting a backhoe out there and actually like digging until you see something. They were literally sifting through little pieces of dirt. More than 4,000 tons of material were processed and over 17,000 man hours in this operation. Today, that work paid off, or yesterday as of this recording. In a newly searched section of the landfill, crews located human remains along with clothing, and the clothing is really what tipped them off. It was the exact clothing that Ja'Derrius was wearing when he disappeared. At a 3 p.m. Press conference this past Wednesday, Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse told the public, "Evidence gives me hopes. The remains belong to Ja'Derrius. Professionally, I am unable to make any speculations, but I remain very, very hopeful." Mayor President Sid Edwards just said the son of Baton Rouge is going to be brought home. DNA testing, of course, again, now underway, but they have pretty good suspicion that's who that is.
Yeah, and to me, that sounds like they pretty visually believe that that's him. And so I'm hoping and praying that that is him, because if not, now we have another victim that they would have to figure out. But for this family, the shock of the murder is that's under their belt, and they've got that. But to not know where your baby was and to know that he's out there in the dump, to bring him home, I think would be not closure, but that would be a positive to this, that they can at least bring him home and give him proper burial and the respect, and the rights that he deserves.
Right.
And so the family, I'm happy for the family, although it's very tragic. I'm very happy that this might be closure for them. All right, so let's move on to another huge case locally that I know Jim and I both were planning to attend. But this is going to be the Madison Brooks trial. So this is a high-profile one out of Baton Rouge, and it's more than 3 years in the making. And it's the first trial connected to the alleged rape of Madison Brooks. But now we're finding out that it's been delayed. So Brooks, a 19-year-old LSU student and cheerleader, was allegedly raped in a vehicle in the early morning hours of January 5th, 2023, after leaving Reggie's Bar in East Baton Rouge. Authorities say she was extremely intoxicated with a blood alcohol level of 0.319, which is nearly 4 times the legal limit. The men that were with her last later left her on a remote stretch of Burbank Drive shortly after 3 a.m., where she was then later struck by a vehicle and she died. 4 men were charged. The first scheduled to go to trial was Desmond Carter, who was 17 at the time of the incident, and he is being tried as an adult. He faces charges of first-degree rape and third-degree rape. A conviction on the first-degree charge carries a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole. Carter's trial had been set to begin today, which would have been August 17th. However, prosecutors successfully requested a 30-day continuance after the defense filed a series of last-minute pretrial motions just days before the trial was set to start. Judge Gail Horn-Ray granted the delay. A motions hearing is now scheduled for September 17th. Among those key motions from the defense was an effort to exclude 9 videos from evidence. And I know, Jim, you and I both have listened to portions of some video, and so that was very interesting to me. So prosecutors strongly opposed that request, calling it a procedurally improper attempt to dismantle the state's case before trial. They argued that the defense was selectively trying to keep certain footage out while omitting important context, including video they say shows another defendant in the immediate aftermath of the alleged assault. The defense has also sought to limit the use of the word "quote unquote" victim in court. They want to exclude certain expert testimony and evidence related to Brooks's death. And earlier they attempted to stop supporters from wearing pink in the courtroom. Pink has become a symbol for Brooks's family and the foundation created in her name. That request regarding the pink clothing, we've already, I think, reported on this, was denied. We covered that last week. So the other three defendants remain in various stages of the legal process. Case and Carver's bench trial is currently set for mid-November. Kayvon Washington is still awaiting trial, and Everett Lee's case is pending disposition. Now, this particular case continues to draw significant attention across Louisiana, and we will stay on it as the September motions hearing approaches and the trials eventually move forward.
Yeah, and man, this case is very big here in the state of Louisiana, as it should be. There's a lot of questions in this case that hopefully this trial will answer. I don't have any problem with them allowing the supporters of Madison Brooks to wear pink. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with the defense saying you got to not refer to her as a victim when you're innocent until proven guilty, and and it's up to the jury to determine if she was a victim of one of these people. That happened in another case that we actually covered and sat through. Another reason here, in my opinion, for cameras in the courtroom in Louisiana. This is a case that you can judge on its face and have one opinion, and when all the evidence is presented, maybe you have the same opinion. Maybe that opinion changes.
Yeah. I remember, this is why I hate speaking out of turn or early in cases, but I did a bit on this one and was like, wow, when I saw that blood alcohol content, I'm like, how in the world could, this girl wouldn't have been able to stand at 0.3. And, you make all these assumptions about what is going on. And then shortly thereafter, the video was leaked to the media of her running across the street, like after these guys towards their car. And while I'm not saying that means one thing or another, what I'm saying is this is why I would love to see all the evidence. I would like to go to the trial. I would like to listen to everything. I also know there was some audio that changed my mind, or not changed my mind, but impacted my thinking that I was not prepared for, that I heard. So this one I want to be on. I want to follow up on this one. I think that it'll be very interesting considering how many perpetrators or alleged perpetrators there are, the age of them, the relationship to her, and the fact that she got out of the car and they left her there. And if you're not familiar with our area, Burbank is a very long road, and it's dark, very dark in a lot of places. And, there's questions about, did they dump her, leave her, or was that what she wanted and they did it? So lots of stuff to cover here, lots of questions to be answered.
Yep. And that's, hopefully some of those will be answered in the trial.
Yeah.
So look, me and Alex Murdaugh are practically best friends now. I've only done about 40 episodes of him.
Invested as much of your life as...
Oh my gosh. Covered his entire first trial and the gift that keeps on giving. He's going to have another trial I get to cover. And, he scored a major victory in court, and I don't necessarily disagree with this decision. So let me tell you what happened. On August 14th, during a pretrial hearing, a circuit court judge, Deborah McCaskill, granted the defense's request to move the retrial out of Colleton County, the same county where Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, his son and his wife, were killed in June 2021 and where he was originally convicted in 2023. The judge ruled Murdaugh cannot receive a fair and impartial trial in Colleton County, citing intense publicity surrounding the case and the long shadow of the Murdaugh family influence in that area. Defense attorney Dick Harpootlian, argued...
Night, Irene. What is it? Dick Harpootlian?
Yeah, he's a state senator in South Carolina as well as Murdaugh's attorney.
That's a name.
Dick Harpootlian. He's very, very good. Very good attorney. He argued that Colleton County is poison for his client and pushed for the trial to be moved to Charleston, where a larger jury pool would be available. The new venue has not yet been announced. The judge said she will select the county and issue a formal order on a later date. The retrial itself is scheduled to begin April 5th of 2027. Now, as a reminder, His double murder convictions were originally overturned because the clerk of court in that case improperly influenced the jury. Totally legit decision there. She did do that. And as a result of that, she has caused all this. It is frustrating to me because in my mind, it was proved in the first trial that he did this. However, she, with her meddling, has now caused a whole new trial to take place. Now, there is an interesting tidbit to this, and this is after the first trial, there was some DNA evidence come out that Maggie Murdaugh, his wife, had an unknown person's DNA under her fingernails. And that was after his conviction that never got into the trial. It is going to be allowed in the retrial.
Was it denied in the first trial? And now
it wasn't available.
Or wasn't
they didn't have it. That particular DNA was never tested, apparently, to my understanding, until after that trial was over with. And they said, wait a minute, whose DNA is this under her fingernails? And they did something like 5,000 DNA swabs, and it matches nobody that they've swabbed.
I'd be curious how strong of a DNA.
Doesn't mean he didn't do it, but it you got to convince 12 people, and one of them might say, I want to know whose DNA is under her fingernails.
Yeah, and this goes to show that even the small things that you would think wouldn't, amount to a hill of beans, let's say he does for some reason get found not guilty, we can thank that woman. We can thank that clerk of court because she couldn't just stay in her lane and not interfere. I agree. And just one more quick point on that so everybody doesn't freak out. Doesn't mean he's getting out of prison. He's already been convicted of over 100 counts of taking clients' money in federal court. And I'm talking millions. So he'll be in jail for pretty much the rest of his life, no matter what. But if he killed these two people, he needs to stand in front of the public and get convicted of it. Yeah. And she may have ruined that. We'll see. So let's move on to Florida. A Florida mother's beach day with her two daughters ended in an absolute nightmare that left those two little girls without their mom. 39-year-old Mandy Fackler and her daughters, ages 9 and 12, pulled up to their home in Hudson, Florida after a day at the beach. Waiting for them in the front yard was her on-again, off-again boyfriend, 47-year-old Troy. Is it Savitz? Have you heard it said? I believe it's Savitz. Savitz. And he was a 14-year-old veteran of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and he was assigned to the Marine Division. So what started as an argument over a television set, Savitz wanted that returned to him, it quickly turned violent. Fackler tried to call 911. Savitz grabbed her phone, and in those critical seconds, she told her daughters to run inside the house and call 911. They did exactly what their mama told them. One of the girls stayed on the line with dispatchers, calmly identifying Savitz by name and telling them that he was a Pinellas County deputy. By the time deputies arrived, Mandy Fackler and Savitz were already gone. He had forced her into a rental car and driven off. Authorities tracked the vehicle to nearby Spring Hill, which is approximately 15 miles away. Using a drone, they confirmed two people were inside. When officers approached the car around 7 p.m., both were found dead from gunshot wounds. Investigators say Savitz shot and killed Mandy Fackler before turning the gun on himself. Pasco County Sheriff Chris Noko summoned up the horror for those two little girls. Quote, they just went from the best day of their lives probably to the worst day of their lives. He later addressed them directly, saying their mother told them to go inside and saved their lives, and that she is looking down from heaven and is so proud of them for doing exactly what she asked. Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Gualtieri called the relationship tumultuous, and Savitz's actions were inexcusable. He was blunt. The moment Savitz committed the crime, he was no longer a law enforcement officer. He was a criminal. Savitz had previously been honored as a hero, which is very interesting. In 2014, he was recognized for stopping a man from jumping off of the Bay Pines Bridge. The Tampa Bay Rays even called him in, and they referred to him as everyday MVP and let him throw out a ceremonial first pitch. That history makes what happened even more shocking. Months earlier, Mandy had posted on Facebook about trying to make the relationship work. She wrote about choosing love over fear. Friends remembered her as a vibrant, fun-loving mom who radiated joy, the kind of person who dressed in bright colors, loved butterflies and rainbows, and whose smile was annoyingly contagious. And I know people like that, so that was I think that's rather sweet. She was a real estate agent who described herself as a, quote, fierce mama. The two girls are now with their biological father. A GoFundMe titled Mandy's Girls Need Our Village has been set up to help with counseling, daily needs, and stability for the girls.
Just an horrific, sad story. And, I am thankful that he didn't kill the little girls as well. What a tragic situation. They will never be the same because of this. Obviously, they lost their mother, but then they witnessed this. They didn't witness the actual killing, but they witnessed the kidnapping. Coward, total coward. All of this over, it sounds like an argument over nothing.
Yeah, I think that TV was an excuse to be.
Yeah,
to go
I mean, obviously, when things are taken to that extent, it's a progression. But coward.
Yeah, he knew exactly. He knew exactly
Coward.
what he was doing when he went over there. This guy is a deputy of many, 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 many years. He's been trained on de-escalation. He understands domestic violence. He understands that two parties cannot be together. So he went against everything that he's allegedly stood for, and been trained on to go and shoot a young mom because he couldn't have his way. This didn't have anything to do with that TV. And I think that the sheriff nailed it, that the second that he decided to dishonor the badge, he became a criminal and was no longer law enforcement.
That's right. All right, let's go to Iowa by way of Alabama.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you about a guy by the name of Aiden Thordston. And he faces 20 counts of violating protections for flattened musk turtles by taking or capturing them, something Kelly would do.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind if she sees a turtle that looks like these particular turtles, which they're interesting in their shape and everything, their shells. If she would have saw that, she'd have picked it up all day long and said she was nursing it.
They have the cutest heads.
Yes, people are seeing that. Okay, so he's also facing 104 counts of selling the protected species. So the offenses occurred in Winston County, Alabama, where he was arrested. Flattened musk turtles are known scientifically as Sternothus depressus. How y'all like that? Y'all didn't know I had a big brain like that.
That is Sternothorus.
Yeah, I was going to say I probably jacked up the pronunciation, but they're only found in Alabama, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service lists these species as threatened under the Endangered Species Act. It's not a good idea to mess with them. Alabama law prohibits hunting, trapping, collecting, capturing flattened musk turtles without authorization and regulates transactions regarding the species or its parts. The Alabama Administrative Code lists the flattened musk turtle as protected reptile. And so Thordston, he gets arrested. He's given $100,000 cash bond as well as an additional what they call $5,200 good bond. So I guess that's like a signature bond. As much as I searched, I could not find this cat's age, but the dude looks like he's 12.
I was about to say he's not
I'm
old.
telling you, he looks like he's 12. So he might be 18, but he don't even look 18. He probably one of those things where he's just young and dumb and figured this was no big deal. Like when people get squirrels and they keep these squirrels and they're not supposed to, and it's illegal.
Listen,
it's a shot at Kelly.
It is, but I don't sell anything. I release them back like they are meant to be wild animals.
I think they're illegal to possess. But
I've never, you're making stuff up now. I've never possessed a squirrel in my life.
No,
but yeah, this is interesting that this is probably going to be chalked up to either he didn't know that and he was just selling turtles, or he absolutely knew how rare they were and he was making a pretty coin on them.
I think it's probably your second suspicion there, but I think he did not realize the repercussions. I think he figured nobody's going to care.
No one's going to care. It's a turtle.
Yeah. And the next thing you know, FBI or Alabama Secret Service or somebody is like, you're going to jail in $100,000 bond, bro. For selling turtles.
Listen.
Imagine sitting there next to a murderer and him saying, what are you in for? And you're like,
slanging turtle.
I've been slanging turtle for 6 months,
slanging them turtles, boy.
Slanging
You ever heard of a flattened musk?
Yeah.
Wow.
Could you imagine
I think
that?
I've told this story before, but we were fishing offshore one time and all I was doing was fishing, and then I reel it up and there's a tiny little sea turtle on my hook. I didn't mean to catch it. I wasn't fishing for a baby sea turtle. And before I could even look at it and tell it how beautiful it was, my husband came running. He was like, "You can't have that." And he like chunked that sucker.
because you'd have kept it and brought it home.
I just wanted to say hello, and he chunked it off the boat. So I didn't get to hang out with him. All right, let's go to Nebraska. This one I got a lot of questions on this one. I'm interested to hear your opinion, Jim, on this one. So a Nebraska man is accused of sexually assaulting a woman a day before he was set to get married. Tyler Weber, 33, was arrested on charges of first-degree sexual assault and first-degree false imprisonment after DNA results contradicted his claims that he did not assault the victim. Weber is accused of raping the woman, who was 19, and she was also married. So she was married and had gathered with a group of people at his home to prepare for his wedding day in May. This was a day before the nuptials. So the group had been drinking, and the victim told deputies that Weber grabbed her hand and wrist when her husband wasn't looking. However, at some point, the rest of the group, including her husband, left the victim and Weber alone at his home. The victim told investigators that she was feeling drunk and decided to borrow clothes and spend the night. I got to stop right there. They had to have known each other more than just wedding planners.
Oh yeah, he was helping. She wasn't an official wedding planner. She's helping him plan his wedding.
Yeah.
Good friend.
They have to be friends here. So she said that Weber followed her, grabbed her by the wrist, and pinned her against the stairs before pulling her onto the couch, where he assaulted her, according to the authorities. She told investigators that he pulled down her shorts and performed a sex act as she repeatedly told him no. Weber reportedly stopped the assault several times to say that he shouldn't be doing this since his wedding was the next day. The victim also told authorities that he discussed his desire to have a threesome with her and his soon-to-be wife. I mean, this guy had a plan.
This dude's letting it all spill. The day before his wedding. I want to have a threesome.
I know. Sir, you need to calm down. My Lord.
I'm not helping plan your wedding anymore.
No.
That's what she was thinking.
I'm going to plan your jail stay.
Yeah.
How about that? So the victim said Tyler also bit her on the thigh, and a medical exam was performed shortly after the alleged assault. The victim said that she tried to text her husband to tell him bad things were happening, but eventually fell asleep. She later woke up, and around 5:30 a.m. is when she woke up, because the bride-to-be came downstairs and saw Weber holding the victim and began yelling at her. So it was not immediately clear how Weber and the victim knew each other. The victim told investigators that Weber begged her, quote, not to tell anyone what happened as she left the home that morning. Medical personnel performed a rape exam on the victim, collecting DNA samples. A warrant was later issued for Weber's DNA, and he consented to the test. Initial results did not rule Weber out. However, a more thorough DNA test, known as a Y-STR-DNA test, matched the DNA, court records showed, and the positive DNA match led to his arrest and charges. His bond was set at $215,000.
I mean, when I was researching this article, what it sounded like initially happened was everybody was drunk as shit.
Yeah.
He absolutely went way over the line on all these things, and he deserves to be in jail for it. That is 100% textbook sexual assault. But with the texting to her husband and all those, it sounds like both of them were inebriated, which is, you're about to get married, right? It was the day before your wedding. And this dude just lost his whole shit. And he's like sitting there trying to like have sex with her, and then says, I want to have a threesome with you and my wife. What?
I would suggest that you not drink with this guy, anybody, because he seems to let the demons take over whenever
it's truth serum to him.
Yeah.
Son.
And if you were at a friend's house and your plan was to get sloshed, you know what your plan is, I guess, to go over there. I am curious where her husband was, though. Like, why did I'm wondering if she was closer friends with the bride. And so that's why she felt comfortable staying.
I mean, we'd be speculating.
Yeah, I know we would. I would like to know more about this case, because it's very strange.
Yeah.
The whole situation is strange. The dynamic is.
It is. So there you have it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to Florida. And look, this lady has been making the news for a while. We haven't reported on it yet because I wanted to let this case kind of run its course. But it got so bad, the FBI was basically issuing a warning to all men saying, if you come across this girl, don't trust her.
That's
I
bad.
mean, legit.
I know, but that's bad when the FBI has to be like.
She's like a black widow, man. And her name is Isabelle Johnson. And she's a murder suspect now who allegedly killed a man that was later found in a shallow grave. Well, a 45-day manhunt for her capture ensued. She has been caught. She was arrested without incident by U.S. Marshals outside of a home in Jackson County, Florida. And she's basically accused of killing 43-year-old Jason Colthart. Now, she was located using information developed by the Walton County Sheriff's Office Cyber Crimes Unit. It had been tracking her communications, and it didn't specify how it was doing that, but that's indeed what happened. Johnson was extradited as soon as she was captured to Walton County, where the alleged crime took place. She's currently being held without bond. So the chief deputy said in a statement that after an exhaustive 45-day search, she was located not for media coverage or tips, although we're very grateful for them, but through the hard work of investigators. Authorities said 3 days before her capture that Johnson was known to use multiple identities and aliases, and that was that FBI thing that was sent across to me. She was known as Harley.
Oh.
Okay, so look, I love my girls out there named Harley, but if your name is Harley, I'm getting a little nervous already. Jessica Bowman, Jessica Thrush, Jessica Thrash, Jessica Dowdy, and look, she was married to Jessica, right?
Thrasher
she's gonna go,
Dasher
she's
and
gonna go with
Prancer and
Jessica.
Dancer, man.
Possibly Denise.
Oh, nice.
She throws Denise in there. So the sheriff's office also added she frequently moves locations and often convinces others to help her by telling sympathetic stories involving domestic violence or other personal hardships. Investigators had also shared details about several of her identifying tattoos to help the public recognize her, and they offered a $16,000 reward for information for her arrest. She was Colthart, the guy she's accused of killing, was reported missing to the Niceville Police Department in Florida in late May. Investigators received information from an incarcerated individual on June 25th about the potential whereabouts of Colthart's remains, and his body was found that evening. So that information was exactly accurate. According to the arrest report, the grave was covered with concrete and a black Cadillac was parked over it. A large white zip tie was found around the victim's neck. Authorities previously arrested 5 people accused of helping Johnson avoid capture after the homicide. 5 people, 5 dudes. Yeah, they might as well say dudes.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So they're accused of allegedly helping her by sheltering her, transporting her, providing supplies, even a cell phone, and arranging for places for her to stay, misleading investigators. And I got to say, her tats are very nice. If you're looking at this on Patreon, you can see. I mean, she's a very pretty girl. Mm-hmm. And if you're an idiot dude who is going to listen to a lot of dumb sob stories, she could probably feed you one pretty good. Mm-hmm. Glad she's been caught, because this guy, Jason Colthart, deserves justice, and it looks like they're on the path towards giving him some justice.
I really do appreciate this inmate that came forward with that information, because he would have just been another missing person. Now, I would be curious to know, how did the inmate come upon that information? I bet you he knew her, or, was messing in the same circles, and he saw an out there to get, or she, I don't know who the inmate was, but, got a deal or something. But to me, if I was the family member of this guy that was under concrete and I had no idea where he was, hey, I'm willing to wheel and deal, find my loved one. I'd like to know where they are, and I wouldn't have been mad about it. So
yeah, and if you go on the run, don't get a tattoo that goes from your shoulder all the way to your ass. Yeah, that would be. I mean, this is distinctive as they come.
It's like
it's a beautiful tattoo, but
no, it's not
distinctive. I think it is. I think it's pretty
the
cool.
top is ugly. It's an ugly flower and star. The bottom is cool. The bottom is a phoenix. I think if you turn it sideways, like you can see the beak and you can see the like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. But the top looks like she had a friend do it in the backyard. But either way.
That's cold-blooded.
Well, hey, there's some sick ass.
She's a manipulator for sure.
There's some sick ass tattoos out there that I have seen, but I like the bottom, not the top.
Right.
All right, let's go to Georgia. And this would be a worse nightmare. So a disturbing home invasion case out of Georgia has a man facing serious charges after police say he broke into a neighboring apartment. But guys, he didn't break through the front door. Nor did he break it through a window. He smashed through a closet wall and attacked a teenager through the sheetrock. So officers responded to a possible domestic violence call at an apartment complex. And when they got there, they found 29-year-old Obed Reyes actively assaulting a 15-year-old little girl. According to the police department, Reyes had smashed a hole through a shared closet wall from the unit next door, and that's how he entered the teen's apartment. Once inside, he allegedly grabbed the girl by the hair, punched her multiple times, and then threatened to rape her. And this entire attack took place in front of her younger siblings, who were only 5 and 7 years old. Witnesses who called 911 reported seeing a man dragging a female by her hair and hitting her repeatedly while she screamed. Even scarier is that the teen did not know Reyes. He lived in the same building, but she had no clue who he was and just came smashing through her wall. Police intervened during the assault, took Reyes into custody. He's been charged with burglary, aggravated assault, attempted rape, kidnapping, and 2 counts of cruelty to children. Police have said the victim has a long road to recovery ahead of this traumatic ordeal. A complete stranger forcing his way through a wall into a home where children were present is hard to hear, but it's real life, and we will continue to follow any updates as this case moves through the court system.
That's so crazy. And didn't even know the girl. And y'all, we're not talking about busting through like the living room closet into the bedroom. We're talking about busting into an entire apartment via the closet wall.
I mean, this looks like he took a running start and like just PI'd his way through multiple sheetrock. I mean, this is the size of a man.
Yeah.
This is a huge hole, and that girl is just in her own apartment, minding her own business.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Absolutely insane. Kelly, do you know Morgan Wallen? Are you a Morgan Wallen fan?
Oh, yes. Me and Morgan, yes, I love Morgan Wallen, but I don't know him personally.
You don't? Have you ever been to his concerts?
No, but I watch him on TikTok and stuff like that.
Okay. But never been live?
No.
Okay. So you've never been peed on?
Okay, I've been peed on before, but not at a Morgan Wallen concert.
Oh my gosh, that's a story for another day.
No, I'll tell you now. I peed on myself. I thought I was doing a good job.
Stung by an urchin?
No, it was after a night of partying, and I thought that I was going to evacuate in a private field, and I just didn't pull my pants down. I don't know what happened. I just peed.
All right.
It was a good time.
Well, this is a little different than that. It's one thing to pee on yourself.
Right.
It's another for somebody to pee on you.
That I would not agree to.
No golden showers in Kelly's future.
Nope. Stay away, R. Kelly. Leave me alone.
Stay away. All right. Well, we're going to go to North Carolina, and I'm going to tell you one of the stranger concert stories that we've ever covered on this show. A North Carolina man is now facing multiple charges after allegedly urinating on a family, including an 8-year-old girl during a Morgan Wallen concert. Now, this happened in Baltimore. It was during Wallen's Still a Problem tour in late July. And Jason Reed, who is 33 and from North Carolina, is accused of returning to the wrong seats a couple of songs into Morgan Wallen's set. He just pulls his pants completely down and he starts pissing on the people in front of him. Those people were Troy Gelving, his wife, his brother Tim, and their 2 young nieces, 8 and 11. Troy told the people he first felt something wet, and I'm not laughing, I just couldn't imagine this. First felt something wet and assumed it was a spilled beer. Then his wife said whatever the man behind them was doing was running down her leg. Can you imagine? When Troy looked over his shoulder, he saw Reed with his pants fully down, pissing on the family, including the 8-year-old. Troy described the whole thing as sickening. He confronted Reed. There was an altercation.
I bet there was.
And security in Maryland Transportation Authority police escorted the man out of the stadium, but no arrest was made that night, which pissed the family off, no pun intended. Yeah. They later spoke out publicly, and the video of Troy talking to officers on the scene went viral. Just this past week, authorities announced Reed had been arrested. Imagine that, a little pressure from a viral video, all of a sudden everybody's getting in trouble. So he gets arrested in North Carolina. He's being held, and it's pending extradition to Maryland. and all of that stuff. But Troy has said the family traveled from upstate New York for the show, and that his niece is still dealing with the trauma of what happened. The family also has been in contact with stadium officials on how the situation was handled on site. And of course, we'll keep an eye on this one as it moves through the system. But let me tell you something. You piss on me.
Yeah.
Your ass is grass. And I'm going to be the lawnmower.
Hey,
you piss on me or my family, and I'm going to beat your ass.
As you should.
And we're both going to jail.
I was going to say, I'm going to jail. There'll be an arrest.
I couldn't believe that.
If you pee on me, that is the most disgusting, so he's at the wrong seats to begin with. And then he just whips it out. First of all, that's inappropriate just on its face.
You shouldn't even be whipping it out, right?
I know. Put your snake up, sir. But secondly, you're peeing on my kid. That is when I would absolutely lose it. I would lose it if you peed on my kid.
I would lose it if you peed on my kid or me.
Or my dog. Or a turtle I was smuggling and selling. Don't pee on any. That is gross. And if he had any kind of disease or something, just the I'm a germaphobe.
And his wife, the wife turns to the husband and says,
whatever he's doing.
Whatever he's doing, it's going down my leg. Oh, dude. Pick your teeth up that I just knocked out of your mouth.
You're going to look real cute with dentures.
Oh, yeah, that'd have been it.
Jim, please call me if you ever get in a fist fight.
What did he do? Pissed on me.
You get third degree battery. You do 2 years for someone peeing on you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not funny, though. For real.
No, it's not, and he's going to do time for it.
Yeah, that's disgusting, and shame on him. All right, so we're going to go to Kentucky. So 2 people face charges after an investigation revealed that they used the court bond system to target female jail inmates for human trafficking. Now, this is according to the Madisonville Police Department. So they say they received information in July that Brian Allison was using the court's bond system to induce female drug users into being exploited through sexual activity and drug trafficking. Investigators discovered Allison had bonded out several women and had nearly $30,000 in bonds within the court system. That's kind of a red flag, right? The past week, officers stopped Allison for an unrelated traffic violation. He had 3 women in the vehicle, and they were arrested for suspected heroin possession. A search warrant executed on Allison's home turned up suspected illicit drugs, a stolen gun, and trafficking-related items. As the investigation continued, officers further reviewed Hopkins County jail records, financial files, and inmate communications. According to police, they discovered that Josie Crafton, so this is another woman, introduced and pimped out several female inmates to Allison over jail video calls. Police said Allison financially compensated Crafton and then bonded the women out of jail. Allison is charged with human trafficking, commercial sex activity. Crafton is charged with promoting human trafficking. The Lexington Police Department assisted Madisonville police in locating Crafton and taking her into custody, and the investigation is ongoing. And I have to add something here. I know that drug addicts have a lot of frustration that comes with them, but they are absolutely a facet of society that can be manipulated and used because of that addiction. And this guy honed in on that and became a predator.
And girl.
Yeah, and they became predators, and that I will not. That is disgusting.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just taking advantage of people who have a major problem and a major weakness, and manipulating that weakness and trafficking. Look, it's taken very serious nowadays, so they're going to do some time for this.
They should,
as they should, and a female and male involved. That if you look at the male in this picture, kind of looks like he'd be a little bitch anyway, but the female actually goes to show you can't judge a book by its cover, because she looks like a librarian.
The
looks innocent is what I'm saying by this.
The contact between the two, I would be curious where that came from. Whenever someone's trafficking women, it's very, very common that a woman that's already in the game, that's already doing this, is going to be like the recruiter of other women, because that kind of lowers the the red flags of it. Like, oh, come on, girl, we can make a lot of money. I can show you how we can do this, blah, 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 blah. And if they see they can make an easy trick and they're willing to do that, okay. But that's how these guys build what's called their stable. And I could go on and on and on. But that's classic, to have a woman be the one to introduce the women to the pimp.
Yeah, and they'll
Sick.
do. You know, when you have an addiction like that, I would imagine. Fortunate, I don't have that addiction. Or never even done that stuff, but I would imagine that's such a monkey that you'll do just about anything to get that high. And these people know that, and they take advantage of it. So hopefully they spend a lot of time in jail.
Agreed.
All right, Kelly, let's go into overtime. All right, so we're going to start off this overtime in the True Time Crime Machine, Kelly Jennings. Let's go back to August 21st of 1992.
Booby dooby 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 doo.
On a remote ridge in northern Idaho in late summer of 1992. You may remember this, Kelly.
Okay.
A quiet attempt to resolve a reclusive family interruption erupted into one of the most infamous confrontations between U.S. citizens and law enforcement in modern history. What began as a surveillance operation on August 21st of 1992 ended 11 days later when 3 people were dead. A nation became divided, and lasting questions about government power were out there and echoing no matter where you listened. Randy Weaver, a former Green Beret and self-described white supremacist, lived with his wife Vicky and Vicky and their children in a modest cabin. This is on Ruby Ridge near Naples, Idaho. The family held anti-government, religious, apocalyptic beliefs, and Weaver had been charged with selling 2 illegally owned sawed-off shotguns to an undercover agent. After receiving conflicting court dates and failing to appear, a warrant gets issued, like it would in any case. And on the morning of August 21st, a team of 6 U.S. Marshals moved on the property to gather intelligence for a possible arrest, because they knew this was a family that may fight back against the government. So the Weaver's dog starts barking, detecting them, and Randy Weaver and his 14-year-old son, Sammy, and a family friend named Kevin Harris, they go out to investigate that, and a firefight erupts near a trail junction known as the Y. Accounts of who fired first remain disputed. Deputy U.S. Marshal William Deegan was shot and killed. Sammy Weaver was shot in the back and killed, and the family dog was also killed.
Oh, poor puppy. Sorry, I do feel bad.
Oh my gosh. You have 2 people dead as well.
I know, but the
including
dog can't
a U.S.
engage.
Marshal.
I know. I'm just saying the dog can't engage. Sorry,
Right.
I didn't mean that like that.
Federal authorities quickly escalated. The FBI's hostage rescue team arrived the next day under aggressive rules of engagement that authorized deadly force against any armed adult male outside of that cabin on August 22nd as Randy Weaver, his teenage daughter Sarah, and Kevin Harris approached a shed where Sammy's body had been placed. An FBI sniper opened fire. Weaver was wounded in the arm, and as the group retreated, that sniper fired again. The bullet passed through the open door, hit Vicky Weaver, the wife, and who was standing behind that door, and the couple's 10-month-old daughter. The same round also wounded Harris. So Vicky Weaver's body remained in that cabin for days. She was killed. Negotiations stalled, and eventually on August 30th, the critically injured Kevin Harris surrendered. The next day, Randy Weaver and his surviving daughters walked out, and Weaver and Harris, they faced serious charges, including murder. And in 1993, believe it or not, a jury acquitted Harris of all charges. Weaver was acquitted of the most serious counts, but convicted of failing to appear on the original weapons charge. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison and a $10,000 fine, and he didn't even serve that. The government later paid settlements to the family. In 1995, Ricky Weaver and his 3 daughters actually received $3.1 million for the deaths of Sammy and Vicky. Harris later settled those claims for $380,000. A Department of Justice review criticized all kinds of aspects of this investigation as it related to the sniper shootings, and Ruby Ridge became kind of like a I don't know if you call it a launching point for what Timothy McVeigh did in the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing. He used that as kind of his...
Yeah, like that was his inspiration or his get back. But
that.
It also had to do with the Branch Davidians and the shootout that occurred whenever in Waco. Yeah. So I was only 8 years old whenever that happened, but that goes to show how monumental of a case it is, that still today. I mean, even in the class that I taught, we use that case as a launch point also to talk about the Branch Davidians and how leaking information led to more deaths because people didn't keep their mouth shut. So yeah, huge case. And I kind of feel like a fool that I went, oh, when you said the dog, it was a natural reaction. But I mean, I'm curious about the baby. Where was the baby hit? Do we know?
I don't know. It didn't say. I
actually didn't know that. I didn't know that
it was a baby. So it was hit on its body somewhere.
I know. I didn't know that part. I knew about the other ones, but I did not know about that. So it's very interesting. But yeah, huge. And a lot of things have taken place since then, even though that was back in the day. That's wild. All right, let's go to New Jersey.
All right.
And Brooke Hanlon, the 35-year-old New Jersey psychotherapist and new mother fatally stabbed in her Chester home, has been laid to rest as the investigation into her death stretches into its third month and no publicly identified persons of interest or suspects. That's a long time to not have anybody pinned. Hanlon was discovered by her husband, James, who goes by Connor Hanlon, on the afternoon of June 6th.
James, who goes by Connor?
Yeah.
That's different.
That might be his middle name.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm Kelly. I go by Agadosha.
That's amazing.
I know.
Yeah, I go by Harley.
Yeah. Nice. Or Denise.
Yeah, Denise. Oh, look out for Denise. She's a wild one.
I'm telling you. All right, so Connor Hanlon, on the afternoon of June 6th, on the floor of the bedroom in the home the couple had purchased just 2 years earlier. She died from multiple sharp force injuries. The Morris County Medical Examiner's Office ruled her manner of death as homicide. 72 days later, authorities have made no arrests and have not named anybody as a person of interest. In her obituary, her family remembered her as a truly beautiful soul, a gift from God, a truly loving wife, an extraordinary mother to her darling Avery, and they described her bond with her young daughter as spiritual, holy, and will be everlasting. The family wrote that although her death left a permanent hole in their hearts, the lives of those who knew her are infinitely better by having had her and the time that she graced on earth. So Hanlon grew up in Chester after moving there at age 9. She attended Wake Forest University, and she later earned a Master of Science in Counseling Psychology from Northeastern University in Boston. During her college years and beyond, she volunteered extensively. I find her very impressive just as a human being. She provided care for children with autism and emotional challenges. She worked with underprivileged children in India. She did tutoring in Spain. She helped raise funds for schools in Uganda. And she assisted with Habitat for Humanity and as a preschool teacher's aide.
It makes me feel very selfish.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't
done half that, and I'm like probably 10 times her age.
I mean, she was, what a selfless human being. That's really, that is how that comes across. She met Connor while studying in Boston, and the couple married in 2021, bought their Chester home in 2024, and welcomed their daughter Avery in 2025. Avery turned 1 in July, 1 month after her mother's death, and that makes me sad because she won't know her mommy.
Right.
Connor returned to his hometown of Brighton, Massachusetts for a period after the killing, but he's since been back in New Jersey. Local residents reported seeing his car parked outside of their home in recent days. In the 911 call released earlier, Connor could be heard telling the dispatcher he found his wife with multiple stab wounds and unable to breathe. He performed CPR for nearly 5 minutes while waiting for first responders. A roughly 10-second portion of the call appears to have been redacted. When audio resumes, the dispatcher asks him to explain exactly what happened, and Connor begins to say, "I was gone," before cutting off and focusing on the emergency. Local police declined to publicly confirm the victim's identity for 3 weeks after the killing. The investigation was labeled suspicious within minutes, and the major crimes team was called in.
Horrific.
And no answers.
Yeah.
And
you know how these cases, the longer they go on, the lower the percentage of ever solving them are.
Mm-hmm. And they're being so tight-lipped on this one that it makes me think that maybe they have something that there, I don't know. It doesn't say there was a burglary. It doesn't say anything's missing, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right.
So I wonder if they have an inkling, and so that's why they're just being completely tight-lipped on it, because they don't have much else.
Yeah, and what an amazing person and just beautiful lady.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Golly. And she didn't get to raise her baby. I'm so sad for her.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go into Lustful Lawbreakers. All right, Kelly. I've got one today that's going to make you blush.
Uh-oh.
You know,
It's hard
these
to make
lustful
me
lawbreakers can do that sometimes. Yeah. I'm going to tell you about a Florida tattoo artist. Kelly's thinking, I like him already.
Yeah. He did not do the tattoo of that woman.
And he lives in Florida, which means we can go to the beach a lot, right?
Yes.
Well, he's behind bars after allegedly being spotted outside an apartment complex at 2:30 in the morning with his pants down, inserting a sex toy into his anus. And her response is like, oh, and I'm letting Kelly, I actually have a copy of the police report for Kelly to review. And if you're watching this on Patreon, you're seeing that now. Jonathan Nemeth, who is 44, was arrested for indecent exposure early last Monday morning and booked into the county jail on a misdemeanor. That's only a misdemeanor is what shocked me the most. Police say the victim took a photo of Nemeth. Took a photo of him.
Okay.
Nemeth exposing himself in a vulgar manner, and when confronted by police in St. Petersburg, Nemeth reportedly admitted to exposing himself outside the apartment complex. Nemeth is scheduled today for a court appearance. He was charged earlier this year for exposure of sexual organs, and that case is pending. Now, you might say, what are we talking about Nemo here? Because he was known as Nemo. That was his nickname. You would never expect Nemo to have committed this crime. But
he touched the butt.
He did. Nemo's social media pages showcase tattoos he's inked for several clients. He's a father of 2 young boys, and he was in court last year for divorce of his wife. So I guess maybe he's working through that by doing these sort of things. He served, according to court documents and Florida Department of Correction records, he has actually served more than a decade in state prison for narcotics possession, armed robbery, and fraud. So he's not a good guy to begin with.
Well, listen.
But he's hanging out now outside of apartment complexes, and I mean, it's just written as plainly as you can get on that report, is it not?
If you want to put things in your butthole, live your life. But I would suggest you do that behind inside your butt?
You know, inside like your own house.
Home? Well, hey.
Not outside in front of an apartment complex.
Hey, listen.
If you're into that.
Y'all know y'all love me some TikTok. I got to tell y'all got to go search this. But there was a woman who was, I guess, on OnlyFans, and she was paid to go sit on a ball hitch of her truck.
What? What's her name?
Hang on.
What's her handle on
Jimothy.
I might have to research that.
She got stuck.
Oh, my.
And so she, of course, made a TikTok that she was stuck on a ball hitch. She'd been there for 2
Wait, she told people about this?
Yes, she made a video. TikTok. Yes, sir.
Oh, Lord.
Go Google it.
I believe
Talk
you.
it.
I believe it. Wouldn't surprise me.
So maybe Nemo and her could team up.
But I will look it up.
You know? But exit only, friends, and then you won't get pictures taken. Well, I mean, do what you want. Put whatever you want in your butt, but not outside.
All right.
That's good advice. Is it my turn? Oh, I got overwhelmed with the report that I was reading. Good
Waiting
Lord.
on you.
Well, look, we're going to stay right here. We'll come home to Louisiana. A Baton Rouge man is in custody after police say he shot a woman and then drove her body across state lines with the dead victim still in the passenger seat. I have made poor decisions in my life, but that's not one of them. So according to the Baton Rouge Police Department, 50-year-old Tyrone Brazil and 50-year-old Lanessa Bradford were at Independence Community Park on Independence Boulevard when the two got into a verbal argument. Authorities say Brazil shot Bradford in response. Instead of calling for help, instead of calling 911, instead of calling an ambulance, he put her body allegedly in the passenger seat of his vehicle and then just drove straight out of the state. Right out of Louisiana. He traveled through several states before Memphis police pulled him over for a traffic violation on August the 13th in downtown Memphis. During that stop, officers discovered that Lanessa Bradford was dead in the passenger seat from the gunshot wound. He was immediately taken into custody as a fugitive and is currently awaiting awaiting extradition back to Baton Rouge, where he's expected to face a murder charge in connection with Bradford's death.
I mean, there's not much you can say about that except for what was he doing? I mean, literally, she is in the passenger seat and you just take off driving. And look, Memphis from where he was is about 7 hours. And it's, you got to go through Mississippi and then you get to Tennessee, and Memphis is right there. But
where are you going with her?
Where are you going with her? And what are you going to do if the police pull you over?
Pretend she's sleeping.
Yeah, like Weekend at Bernie's or something. It's horrible.
Isn't Independence Park right there behind Burlington?
Yeah, it's in Baton Rouge, right, kind of center of town. Yeah.
Man, I don't know. How do you get there? And I know that, but I mean, if he would have dumped her out of the car, we would have said how horrible it was too. But I just can't understand, what were your plans? Like, where was he going? Where the hell are you going with her?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's wild.
We cover crimes sometimes that are unexplainable. That's one of them right there. We can't make sense of that. Mm-mm. Well, that's all we got for today. Kelly Jennings, any final thoughts?
I hate when you ask me my final thoughts, but I would like to tell you that if you would like to keep up to date with the trial for the killer of Tupac, alleged killer of Tupac, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
Alleged killer of Tupac.
Yeah,
right.
But I want to say Eazy-E. What is it?
Eazy-E.
I know. I'm stuck right now. Help me.
Keefe D.
Keefe D. If you want to hear about that and the trial of Keefe D, y'all need to go check out Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite.
Yeah, we're dropping. I'm dropping daily updates on that case. So very intriguing, and I'm going to give you all the deets every day of the trial and cover all the witnesses for that day. I've already got episode 1 and 2 out, so you can go check those out now. And one of these days, Kelly's going to do on Unspeakable the viral trial, I'll call it right now. That
Lindsay Clancy. Yeah,
I begged her, y'all. Quit sending me messages. Start sending them to her because I begged her.
I'm doing it. I've got all
my favorite New Yorker even texted me the other day, asking me about that.
I've got my notes.
I don't mind her texting me, but some of these people are crazy.
I've got my notes and I'm ready, y'all. I'm getting ready. Just give me just a few more minutes and I will be here and on the mic letting you know what I think.
I would like to say I have begged her to start that case. Thank you.
Jim, get out of my face. Y'all have a good night.
All right. My final thought is we're just a week away or 2 weeks away from LSU kickoff. So,
right.
Yeah, I'll see everybody on the 5th.
Hey, maybe we should end it with
Don't do it.
All right.
Don't do it. We'll have to bleep it out.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Kelly Jennings.
And we're your host of Crime
Wire
Weekly.